Will you be absolutely genuine with me? No deception, please. I want you to do something that expresses you without the slightest deception.
I have a very special guest with me today, somebody who I was recently just introduced to in a podcast community group. His name is Jonnie Parsons. He is a man of faith, a disciple of God. He is a father. He's a devoted husband, a devoted grandfather. He's a working man. He is an author to the book of 365 Days. It's devotional to build discipline and faith. I'm so excited to have him here. This is the first time that Jonnie and I are actually meeting with one another.
Yeah.
There is no plan to today. When we texted yesterday, I asked him if he was just ready to rip this and kind of change the world, and those are my exact words.
Yeah.
And I've been following you now since we both were put into that group.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that you put on your social media resonates very deeply with me, especially with me.
Vice versa, man. Definitely the same.
Bro, and the fact that we just had that conversation, we were just talking about God and faith and discipleship and biblical devotional worship before the cameras even went on, and I know that that's going to be a lot where this conversation winds up.
100%, man.
Because Genuity, actually, the second season, which is what we're on now, is a biblical devotional podcast. It's what my podcast partner, who couldn't be here today, it's what him and I have devoted ourselves to. So the fact that you are so entrenched and immersed into that side, and I see what you're doing. I also watch a lot of your past and the things that you talk about, and I think we've trekked a lot of the same valleys and journeys at the same time, so I definitely want to tap into that also. I want you to introduce yourself, kind of who you are, what you do, how you got into who you are as a human being today, and your outlook on life, and really what it is that you are as a man now.
Okay. Yeah, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. There, no coincidences. It's definitely been that way for me on this whole journey that I've been on, and just the fact that I made the comment like, hey, I'm going to be up in Connecticut. It's right by New York City. While I'm here, anybody got openings? And you came up. There was another young lady that came up, and this group that we're in has definitely been a game changer with just helping everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us have kind of pitched in to help everybody grow. And that's, I think, amazing because we all have the same common goal with this podcast thing, which is to get our stories and other people's stories out and encourage people to be able to share their stories, because it's not meant to be held inside. It's meant to help. And, our testimony, even though it may have been painful, there's power in that pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sharing it. But young, or I'm sorry, not young now, but I'll be 40 this year. I'm 39. October is my birthday, October 4th. And I'm born and raised Florida boy, South Florida, Port St. Lucie. Great childhood growing up, great parents. I'm the third out of 4 children. I was a whoops child after my older brother and older sister. I was 15 years after. That's what they called me, whoops. Here's Jonnie. And my dad joked, even on his deathbed, he's like, I had sex 4 times in my whole life, and every single time I had a kid. So he's just like joking that, maybe my mom never gave it up or something. I don't know. But great childhood being brought up. My dad raised me. He was a Vietnam vet Marine, and he hurt his back the year that I was born. So he stayed home, took care of me. And my mom worked at the post office, and she used to sell Tupperware too.
You say sell Tupperware?
She sold Tupperware.
That's dope.
She was a Tupperware sales lady, and she actually did so good that she even got like the free van.
No way.
And I used to steal it whenever I was in high school, and like it was a Pontiac Montana, but this thing was like a rally car van. Like I'd bring it. One time we broke the window one night. Like they wouldn't know I was gone until like something like that happened.
Yeah.
But crazy stories with that. But great. I mean, South Florida, played sports. Just sports was why I think I became who I am today, is because of the discipline that I learned at a young age. I ate, slept, breathed it. It was, the team aspect of it's a we thing.
Yeah.
You know, being coached by you know, individuals that I think, you know, impacted me from a young age that I still remember to this day, and I think which has kind of pushed me in the direction of wanting to help you know, the next generation as well. Because if we're not pouring into them, who is, right? Social media, TV, you know, like if I could tell a younger person anything, I'd tell them what not to do. Right.
Yep.
So, and that's, you know, been another part of the path and journey that I've been on more recently. My whole family smoked weed growing up. Everybody, it was like the thing to do. Some people's families were drinkers. My family smoked weed. So with family gatherings, everybody was either snuck off somewhere smoking joints, or there was just doing it in front of everybody because that was that type of party. And these are like birthday parties, you know what I mean? It's just like the normal. That's what I thought. That was what we were supposed to do when we grew up. Like when I turned 18, I get to smoke weed with my dad. And so obviously there was some experimentation with that early on, 11, 12 years old. And me and my nephew smoked our first joint. Wasn't really the kickoff spot, but that was like the opening ceremony of, hey, this is something that I can use to get outside of myself. Obviously you see people around you doing it, you're like, you're curious. You want to know why they're doing it. So that was it for me. Ended up making it through high school. Only thing that kept my grades up was sports. So once again, sports was my savior. I played football, was on the wrestling team in high school. I played baseball in high school, and I played street basketball in my area where I grew up every night. And so probably around 11th grade is where started going out after the football games, going to parties, started the drinking thing. And, one of the things that I noticed about myself in my past is that I was the guy that was like, everybody's done drinking. They're like, hey, we're going home, or we're going to go do this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, party's not over yet. Let's keep going. And so I crossed the line at a young age where like, it wasn't like for fun for me anymore. It was because I had to kind of, it became an addiction. I think I attribute that to sports too, because just like sports, like I ate, slept, and breathed it, my drugs and alcohol kind of became that for me at a young age as well. And even to this day, some people ask me, they're like, hey, what was like your drug of choice? My drug of choice is more. Yeah. It didn't matter what it was. If it made me feel good and it got me outside of myself and I wanted more of it.
Anything in life worth doing is worth overdoing. Yeah.
And so, you can take that now. I kind of utilize that same kind of mentality. And I tell folks, like when I go into the jail and we bring a message in there, I'm like, look, if we took half of the energy that we put into hustling and slinging drugs or doing negative things, and we put half of that energy into positive things, there's limitless possibilities.
100%, dude.
And we're like unique people, criminalistic type, addicted people. We're unique. Like we're exceptionally, exceptional people. Like, and I'm not saying that other people aren't, but I think we're just, I developed a different character by growing up doing the street stuff and playing sports. And like, I had kind of all areas of life, the positive, the negative. Whereas like, we raise our kids, like I want them to be sheltered. I don't want them to see that side of life. But I think me seeing that side of life kind of changed me into the person, I had to go through some turmoil, but.
Well, don't you think that a lot of that pain also produces a character's purpose though? Right? So you have these people, and again, I see what you post, you generate a lot of light in how you deliver your message. And what you're doing now in the position that you're in, you're a full servant. You're a servant to your wife. You're a servant to your children. We are servants by God's divine essence and nature. That is our stewardship and our role here. But don't you also feel that a lot of that darkness and a lot of that negativity and a lot of that pain and a lot of that anguish and those seasons of torment and suffering, that really is what helps kind of produce our path in order to look at life through a different lens?
I 100% agree. I feel like that, God used people like that.
Oh my God!
In the Bible, God used people very similar to, these people were incarcerated. They were, you had Paul, who was a murderer. You had, he used people that weren't perfect. And I don't think that anybody's perfect. I'm just the one that's actually telling you that I'm not.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are just not going to tell you, like, you know, I nipped the devil in the butt right off the bat. I tell him, you know, I smoked crack. I was an adulteress. You know, all these things that he has no power over me because I released that into the world. And, you know, like even like politics where they find out like, oh, did you hear so-and-so used to, you know, do drugs? It's like, well,
and
so what? Like, but I think there's a power in, you know, being able to reach certain people because of what you've gone through.
It's your permission slip in life. You know, you look at people like us, we're built a certain way. We're tatted up.
Scary looking, yeah.
All right,
like,
tatted up. We have a permission slip in life. The stuff that we've put on our skin, the scars that we wear on our back, the way that we present and the cadence and the tone that we walk, we're able to speak to people at a different intellect and caliber that, let's say, the polished people and the ones that walk around in suits are never going to be able to reach. You take somebody like us who's lived the life in jail, or who's walked around and have gotten arrested, or has lived a lot of their younger years in darkness. We can relate to a lot of these young men who are suffering and teach them that suffering is all part of life's journey. It's one of the most fundamental parts of our journey. You can't understand what light is like if you don't experience what true darkness and depth is like, right?
Yeah.
And alchemizing that suffering into God's purpose and his will, we're able to communicate that message with them when a lot of other people who really don't have the testimony and the lifestyle that we've lived, they're never able to. And I think what you deliver through that, right? The way that you can show up and the way that you present is really the most important thing. That's the true definition of stewardship. You said something about God choosing, you know, the most broken vessels, right?
Yeah.
He chose, you know, Moses, who literally murdered the slave guy, right? The one that was whipping the slave. He chooses people, and there's almost like this pattern in the Bible, if you look at it, where you're called, then you're isolated, and then tested, and then you reemerge into something different after that. And I think that, from what I'm hearing from you, is a lot of your journey.
The thing is I think that a lot of us are, and not everyone's ready to take on what we're called to do.
100%.
Or they just don't know. And so that's where, like, being able to steward, you know, my past and be able to share it to where it sparks a fire in somebody to where, like, hey, I can do that. I'm supposed to do that. This is my purpose as well.
Yeah.
Or to figure out what your purpose is. Because realistically, like, my purpose has changed so many times since I've started my journey. Wow. It's like, you know, we talked about stewarding into the next generation. Like, I never would have thought that I would want to even deal with kids, like younger kids.
Yep.
But like you said, like now, like when I'm in the room in the small group study with the 11th and the 12th graders, you know, not comparing myself, but, you know, the gentleman that was next to me was just fresh out of high school, that we were both leaders in this group. And it's like, he could barely keep them in line. And like, as soon as I started talking, like, these kids are glued, their eyes are glued to me. So why not utilize that platform instead of being like Lil Wayne out there telling them how to smoke weed and do drugs, like saying, hey, look, follow Jesus, you know, be a leader. You could turn your parents into Christians. You might not even know it. My son did that for me. And just by you following and walking a certain way can change your entire family. And that's where, like, I saw that there was a need for it. You
posted something the other day about religion, and it's very interesting. Right.
I think I got some feedback on that one.
I want to agree with you with a lot of what you said, because I do believe that when you look at religion in its entirety, religion, they all source a higher power.
Yes.
They all source something to devote themselves to and to serve a higher power than ourself, right? Mm-hmm. But religion is man-made. Religion is the term of religion is a man-made construct.
Yes.
I don't even like identifying as a Christian sometimes. It's hard for me because there's a part of me that feels where if Jesus was walking this earth, he'd look at people and be like, why are you calling yourself that in my name? Be my disciple, you know? Be a loyal servant.
Go make disciples.
Yeah, go make disciples. Go spread the word and the flesh of God. And you put that video up the other day and I was like, he gets it. You know, he sees it, he understands it. And it's hard sometimes because religion has this weird duality and dichotomy with it, where a lot of people who are religious, which is what pushed me away from following God for so long, are some of the worst people I've ever met in my life. You know, judgmental. They say the word, but then they're not obedient to the word. And that's really some of the hardest thing that I struggled with until I finally realized that it's not the religion in and of itself. You get bad eggs everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
I fall short.
we every day, bro.
Yeah.
Every day.
People are like, oh, you cuss and like you do this. I'm like, man, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Never. It's what I've noticed is I was so against Jesus at one point because I was like, all right, Jesus freak. Now he's all I talk about, bro. I'm in my car
spend hours sometimes talking to people, man. I mean, just like our conversation before this, like I could do that all day long.
Yeah. And that's all I want to do, though. One of my main prayers in the morning is, God, please use me in whatever capacity and will you have to speak on your name today. And he answers that every day. There's always a situation that presents itself where I'm able to speak on the Bible, on God, on the presence of God, on the love of God. That, to me, what I realized finally devoting myself to being a Christian, right, per se, and following Christ is the most important part of following Christ. It's spreading that the Word became flesh. He died on the cross. He was resurrected 3 days later. He died for our sins, and now it's up to us to spread that love, spread that light, spread that unity, and disperse that out into the world around us.
And how do you do that?
You got to talk about it, but you also got to fail also.
You got to walk like it too. That's to be a Christian, the definition of it is, and I said the same thing, but the definition is to be Christ-like.
Yeah.
To be as much like him and on a daily basis as I can, and to be honest, like be better than I was yesterday. That's my goal. Yep. And that same post that you're talking about where I spoke on that, I think I got a couple of messages on it. They're like, oh, you say you use Christianity as your platform, but then you talk about praying to a higher power. And it was like, if you actually watch the video, you hear me say that that's how it was when I was in 12-step.
Yeah.
12-step tricked me into believing in God.
Yeah.
Every single meeting that I was at, at an NA or an AA meeting, it was in a church. I'm sitting there in the room looking around at crosses on the wall. You pray in the beginning and the end. They pass the basket. You're fellowshipping with like-minded people. Like it's a mirror image of a church congregation. Yes. And there's a reason that works. And it did work. Like the 12 steps are biblical. They came from Matthew. They're the having faith, having trust in a higher power. Call it whatever you want at that point in time. Like I always believed in God, but I said higher power because that was for me, like I had a whole bunch of different areas. Like the great outdoors was a higher power for me. Being able to be in God's presence and see that when the sun came up and I heard the birds chirping, that was him speaking to me.
That is.
But that was like the steps that I needed to go through to get to the point where I'm at. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And so like, there's a lot of people that don't truly know him.
Yeah. And
like, there was a time in my journey where like I was like, I know him. If he stood right in front of me right now, I'd be like, yo, I wouldn't be like fanboy. I wouldn't be starstruck. We have a relationship where we talk on a daily basis, and it would be like, I would be excited to see him, but I would already know him because of my relationship that I have with him.
Yep.
So, that's what I ask myself on a daily basis. It's part of my inventory, so to speak. And it might not be at the night. It might be while I'm driving down the road, but I'm asking myself, am I being authentic? Am I doing what I say? Am I walking the way that I preach or talk? I'm not a preacher. 100%. I'm not any of that. But
preaching is just giving the word, dude.
Well, there's a saying back in the, I don't know who said it. I said it the other day, and this guy's like, oh, it was this guy. And I'm like, he's like, you can preach the gospel, and if you need to, use words.
Yeah. I love that. You might be the only Bible that someone ever sees in their life, bro.
Even if it's opening the door for somebody at the 7-Eleven.
And they're smiling at them when they've had a bad day. That's it. That's the smallest, simplest message, dude.
And if the whole world did that, like, even if you doing that to somebody, butterfly affects it into them treating 4 other people that way. Yeah, bro. You've made a difference in the world that day.
You said something about Jesus already knowing you, this communal bond and relations. And I believe that for people to truly know Christ, to truly know Jesus, you have to understand the crucifixion as much as you know the resurrection of him. And I feel that God's undying love for us is to make us just like Christ. The only way that you can truly know Christ is by suffering the same way that he did, by being battered, beaten, broken, bruised, neglected, rejected, forgotten, forsaken.
Knowing you're getting ready to get killed and still walking into it with a smile on your face. You gotta believe that, man, when he's in that garden and he's on his knees and he's praying, that the chest beating out of his chest, anxiety he must have been feeling. I mean, maybe he wasn't, but if it was me in his shoes, that's what I'd be feeling, because
bro, he was feeling it.
He knew it. I just got goosebumps, man. But
the obedience, though, to his Father's will, right, is something of being Christ-like. And in order to truly have that relationship, that's why, going back to what you said before, knowing your darkness, knowing your valleys, knowing your trenches, that's when you're closest to God, because that's when you're most like God. When you have to crawl through the trenches of your own suffering and the depths of your own pain, that's when you are truly closest to Christ himself. That's when you are on the cross with him, or having to carry the weight of your cross around with you. And I feel that people who try and avoid pain, that's when they're trying to not reject the love of the Father, but where they don't really want to embody that true spirit. And that's a message that I try and deliver to everyone that I speak. Yeah. That pain is always that alchemization into purpose 100% of the time.
There's always something to learn from it.
Always.
That's the question that I ask now when something arises, is like, it's not why me, why this person, why that, because that brings doubt. That was me doubting God in my past. Yep. But today it's, what do you want me to learn from this situation? What is it that you're wanting me to take out of this? And the answer might not come right then and there, but maybe it's hindsight. Just like my past, I look back on, I see he was there with me every single step of the way. It's like, he was just preparing me for this spot. He was conditioning me for the next step. And even though it sucked and I hated going through it when I was going through it, like, that pain was part of my growth.
Yeah, man. And
you don't see it when you're going through it. And people are like, it'll be okay, but nobody wants to hear that when you're going through it. You're like,
just let me vent for a second, bro, and like, be miserable with me for a moment. That's the hard part. And that's really where, like, that veil viewed of Christ is sometimes. Now, I found God when everything was taken from me a few years ago. I mean, I had nothing, nothing. And I was on my knees. I was actually a practicing heathen at the time. So I was an atheist, tried to commit suicide, became Buddhist. Buddhism then went into hedonism, which is like Norse mythology. And then my life got stripped naked after that. I had $500 to my name. I went outside. I prayed to him for the first time, like, really, like, on my knees crying. And I was like, show me you're real. And he did the very next day.
Lightning bolt, or was it?
Bro, you want to talk about? So the way that it happened.
I love hearing these stories.
This is a real testimony. I lost my apartment. I lost a relationship. I lost friends. I lost both my jobs. I was $40,000 in debt. All right, and I had to move back home with my parents. And it was my last night in the apartment, and I had $500 left to my name. I booked a plane ticket to go compete in Chicago at High Rocks. It was $496, and I got $4 left to my name.
Wow.
I went outside. I'm on my knees. I'm crying to God. I'm like, please show me that you're real. I'm like, if you show me one sign right now, I will literally devote my entire life. I'm getting the chills when I talk about the story. I will devote my entire life to you. You can have me. I will spread your word. I will be your disciple. I will be your most faithful and loyal child ever. I got offered a job on the plane the next day by a girl who knew me from the gym, who saw me on a podcast, the first season of Genuity, who asked me to come coach children with ADHD.
Wow.
Oh my God, that started this journey. And from that moment forward.
And did you know about God already, or were you like brought up as?
So my first time ever meeting God, truly meeting God, was after my suicide attempt.
Okay.
I took a bunch of mushrooms, and I wound up meeting him. I mean, meeting him. There was a time where, towards the end of my trip, when I was coming to, these giant hands came forward, and I remember it I'm about to cry. I get the whole chills everywhere. I remember him saying, now that we are one, we can never be undone. And my life started to increase after that. And then I pulled away because I was still seeking.
Right.
I believed, but I was still seeking. So I was taking on the beliefs of other people. right? And I was trying to create my own. And I still wasn't saying amen. I still wasn't really fully involved in Jesus at the time.
You didn't have the relationship with him to know you were doing what you were supposed to do.
But he was there.
Yeah.
He was there. And that's also why, like, I see you're wearing is that a Matthew bracelet?
It is.
Okay, so my favorite parable is Matthew chapter 18, verse 12 through 24. It's the parable. Don't tell me that's, get out of here, dog. No way.
Yeah.
If a man has 100 sheep, will he not leave the 99 for the one who went astray? And surely I tell you, he rejoices more over that one that he finds than the 99 who stayed. Bro, that parable.
Just so you know, that's it right there. This is my brother from,
God. Are you kidding me, dog? That parable is what changed my life, because it showed me no matter how far I turn my back from God, he's there trying to bring me home every step of the way.
Yeah.
And that's how I know when I finally leaned back into him, the way that he's blessed me is undeniable and unignorable. Now, granted, there's still moments of pain and challenges and obstacles, but that pain always has purpose. Those obstacles always create different opportunities for me. Anytime I'm rejected, I'm redirected somewhere else right after. And it's given me a different outlook on it. But it's like this, dude.
Because of the discernment, I think. Because I think he was always like redirecting us, but
I can't believe you're wearing that. I'm sorry, bro. I cannot believe you're wearing that.
He called it before I even,
Oh my God.
So real quick, Rise Up Natalie is my brother from another mother, Ray Desmangles, his wife. He's partners in the ministry that I'm in with Braveheart. We have a merchandise line. It says Trust God. And we do men's retreats. We do a men's retreat a year in Florida. We do a free Christian concert in Port St. Lucie every year. It's the 5th year we've done it. It was in November of last year. We had 2,000 people in Tradition Square. All the worship teams from all the churches, local churches came. And we have got it's turned into something big. And then obviously community outreach and jail and prison ministry. So that's like our group, 5 of us, brothers, put that together.
I need to come to that concert.
Yeah.
This is a non-negotiable, okay?
Yeah, the men's retreat, I've been the guy that's been leading it the last couple of years and probably will still do it this year, obviously. Ray Desmangles' wife, she had a sudden cardiac arrest. She lost oxygen to her brain during that cardiac arrest and is in a road to recovery at this point for
amazing.
Regaining full brain action, and so that is what this bracelet is for, and what I'm reminded of in Matthew 18:12. He will go get the one. He will,
dude. My whole body's like shaking.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Now the clothing that you're talking about, is that what I messaged you about that one time?
That is not. That is mine. So Braveheart Inspired is part of it's Trust God. That's our group thing. But Legacy clothing line was JP Legacy is part of what I have going on as well. It's just active wear and stuff like that. I spent like $50 on some Calvin Klein underwear like a month ago, and I'm pretty active, man. I go to the gym and there's holes in them. Like I just want
underwear that you're going to be able to move in.
The 2 things that men get on a yearly basis, like once a year, is socks and underwear. So like, I just want some decent socks and underwear. I don't know if like somehow, because I'm working with a team that's like, we're actually working on like stitching them together and everything. So I want to like triple stitch the seams or go seamless, whatever we can figure out. But like, and Legacy, that's a legacy I want to leave. So it's part of my brand, which is JP Legacy. And
I love that. So honestly, legacy is super important to me. I'm actually happy. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, when they talk about legacy, they talk about the wealth that they build, right? The deposits.
Or their kids. I mean, they're definitely part of your legacy. None of 100%. All of that.
What do you consider true legacy is, right? Is it your accumulation? Is it what you accomplish in this world? Or is it the impact that you leave on the lives around you?
For me, it's just being, like I said earlier, just being my true self, being authentic, being that servant that God wants me to be. And if it helps somebody, great. Like it's leaving an impact. It's truly impacting people. If I get to know that I've impacted people, great. But if I don't ever know, that's even better.
Do you think that you've impacted people?
I believe so, yeah. I've had people come up to me, but like I said, there's those ones that if you open the door for somebody and they impact 3 other people because of your
100%.
Your actions, like I'll never know that.
If you were taken home today and you met God, would you feel that you had a fulfilled life here?
100%.
That is the most important thing in the world.
I'm not afraid of what's next at all. And I believe that I have fulfilled my purpose in life. You know, obviously my son is where he is right now, and our relationship isn't the greatest at this moment in time, but I love him. And at some point he's going to look back and be like, everything, just like I did with my dad, you know, unfortunately it was after he passed away when I realized it.
Yep.
But everything he ever told me was right.
Yeah.
You know, he just wanted the best for me. And, you know, he just didn't know how to portray it or get his point across. And I'm in the same boat now with parenting with my son. Is like, I have to question some of the things. I know for a fact that I want the best for him.
Yep.
But maybe my delivery isn't what it needs to be. Or maybe it is. And I'm not wrong at all.
But maybe he's not ready to take
the receiving
lesson,
part.
Right? And that's, again, you could look at people like us. When you were finding your source, you were creating your own path to find the true essence of source.
And that's letting him do his thing.
Exactly.
Too. He's like, I got this. All right.
You also got to let him experience white knuckling pavement and scraping his knees and bleeding.
He's my son.
Too,
I'm sure he's going to do it.
Of course. That's he's got your genetic pool, bro.
Yeah.
You know, if he's anything. But
I'm
like
here
you,
for him no matter what. I'm there, and not to say I told you so, not to say anything other than I'm here to help you.
I think. How old is he?
15.
I think. Again, one of the most shared human experiences in life is pain, right?
Yeah.
And I do believe that you and your son, when he does get older, same thing with my dad. I didn't have a relationship with my dad for almost 30 years, you know? So it took me as I got older to understand that parents, especially you, I mean, you're a young dude, going to be 40. Your son is 15. You're just a kid having a kid.
Yeah.
Kids don't realize that, and they think that we have, and I'm not a father yet. By the grace of God, one day, I genuinely pray I am.
Yeah.
But there's no rule book to being a parent, bro.
I got like 5. People have been giving me books and stuff.
But every day is a new learning lesson. You are a new person every day that you wake up. You got to carry your own cross every day. You have a relationship with your wife that's always evolving and changing. So you're changing with that, which means you're changing as a father.
And the biggest thing that I took from this whole situation was I put him in God's hands.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
And yes, he's my blood. Yes, I, helped create him with, his mother, but he's in God's hands. I'm powerless over anything past my nose.
Yep.
So, and the only thing I have control over is the way that I react.
Yep.
So, that's how I've been getting through it. And I think, like I said, man, it's just a season. So, and the testosterone's pumping. He's got 15. He's like, yeah, it's like, I don't think I even remember being 15, but I remember
being 15, bro.
Yeah.
I was a jerk off. Yeah.
I knew everything when I was 18. I know that. You couldn't tell me nothing.
I think, like you said, seasons, right? I think this is a season of struggle, which ultimately then will create a season of surrender to one another at one point.
100%.
And I think that comes with time.
I'm just that guy that I want to fix. I want to control. I want to
being a man though, bro.
And I having to let go. Like my wife has helped me through this process. She's like, hey, you know what? We're going to be fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
And I still,
Do you have a hard time? Now I'm just poking and prodding and
go
inside
ahead.
of who you
go
are
ahead.
as a human being. Do you have a hard time surrendering and letting go to certain things because you have this
There's
divine
claw
essence
marks
of
on
masculine-
everything.
Yeah, okay.
There's claw marks on it.
Where does that come from?
So earlier on in my path and in my journey, I think there was a lot more, it was a lot easier for me to let go of things.
Okay.
And now I feel like, especially with the kind of the line of work that I went into with, in the construction industry, I feel like that there's this unwritten rule of like, you have to have this stature about you. But I think I'm flipping the script in that like I bring a more humble approach,
right,
to just like letting the guys know like there's no big I's or little U's. Like every one of us is a puzzle piece that needs to go together for this to work. And like I'm no better or no worse than anybody. And like I'll just randomly show up to a concrete pour and just start finishing concrete with the guys or whatever. And it's like just to kind of because I was that guy too. Like when the boss man showed up, I'm like, crap, hurry up and start working. Like,
Yep.
So now I see like when I pull up, like it's that, and I don't want to be that. So
Right.
I've definitely earlier on in the becoming having this, you call it a position, right? A title. I don't want that. I don't want the title. I don't want a position. But that's whenever it was more like I got to be a certain type of way. I got to have that strength or that like controlling aspect of things. And I think moving away from that, my wife helped me a lot with that, with even in our household with, because I'm a stern leader in the household. Same thing with my son. Like I wanted certain things done a certain way, and it wasn't to control him, but to show him, accountability. And same thing with her. I think I've eased up quite a bit from,
You think
from
that's
where I
benefited your humility and kind of your ability to be present in that moment, the more that you've taken the claws out of something?
I always wanted to respond too. So it was always, instead of like actually hearing and what somebody had to say, I already had the answer.
Yep.
So like, even like, this morning at breakfast, my wife's like, hey, why don't you spend a little less time on your phone, and, we don't come to New York very often. Let's enjoy this. Right.
Yeah.
And I took it for what it was. And I said, you know what, you're right. And I pushed it to the side.
Yep.
And as much as she understands and knows that like this, thing that we got going on is part of, a very, it's part of my passion. It's something that I love to do. And she's like, well, just take a deep breath and let's remember what your original passion was, which is my number one ministry, which is my family and my loved ones.
That's amazing.
And little nudges here and there that remind me but I'm able to receive that and take it and take it for what it is and change.
So you're going to have probably a lot of men that are going to listen to that, because I do feel that men in particular have a hard time of removing their passion with work outside of their first ministry, like you said, with home.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for that? Because that's a hard separation, right? Especially for somebody like you who is so immersed into this type of style where content, everything is done electronically, having your phone on you, being by a computer, making sure that there's uploads, making sure that you're responding on time. How can somebody separate that? How can somebody actually decipher between the two and choose when to show up and make one more important than the other? That's hard.
It is. And even, because I'm still have my business and that's a very big priority too, because that's how we eat. Right. Yeah. So, balance, just one simple question or answer there is balance. And it's been a never ending, I'm not going to say battle, because I'm not going to say I've harnessed it yet either though, but balance has always been part of that checking myself on a daily basis, right? It's part of that inventory, is, hey, I'm doing jail ministry 4 times a month. I'm doing student ministry 4 times a month. So, and I got Bible study 4 times a month on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my number one ministry is at home scrolling on their phone while I'm out thinking that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Right. I'm out delivering, serving, being a servant to God, but in all reality, they're home scrolling on their phone when I need to be home with them. Yeah. So balancing that was like, hey, no, once a month, Bible studies I'm sticking to, once a month for jail ministry. Student ministry, I fulfilled my 2-year commitment, which was part of whenever I started with Amazing. That. And it was praying and asking God for guidance and help on where am I going next, right? What do you want me to do now? And that discernment to be able to know, like, hey, right now, this is what I'm supposed to do. But like I said, balancing on spending the time with them. I just started waking up an hour earlier. Nobody's awake at my house at 4:00 in the morning. No. So I go do whatever I have to do, make all of my posts in the morning. I'm doing my morning meditation. Yeah. And then I found that, like, hey, man, there's not enough time in the day. Well, I'm going to get up an extra 30 minutes earlier. Yep. Because it's 6:00 in the morning to 7:00 in the afternoon, my phone starts ringing and it don't stop. Yep. So that's the time that I have for me. And that's kind of how I've combated it.
You said something about prayer, which, first of all, I think prayer is the most intimate form of relationship that you can have with God. that is how you communicate. That is that divine communal relationship right there. Waking up at 4 a.m, I'm a big believer in that. Not many people are up at that time, so that veil is much shorter between you and God, so you're able to communicate with him much more clearly, because not a lot of people are speaking to him at that time. Do you think that because what you're praying for, it has enhanced your discernment? So you're not praying for these tangible items, and I think that's where people get lost in prayer, right? They pray for platforms, they pray for money, they pray for this type of success. You're praying for very specific qualities and attributes as a man to enhance not necessarily just your life, but those around you.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's where you've gotten the most out of prayer for yourself, especially not only for you, but obviously for your wife, your business, your family, and those that you serve?
Yeah. So that was the early on prayers, right? I didn't even know how to pray. Like, you'd hear somebody pray and they're like, man, that guy's a good share. That guy's a good praying person right there. He just sounds good.
Yep.
Like,
Comes out fluid.
The words are great. And but that wasn't me, and it still isn't me. But it was like, I didn't know how to pray early on, and they were like, all right, well, just thank him for like your toothbrush and thank him for these things. And so like prayer is me asking for guidance or asking for God's help.
Yeah.
And then meditation is listening for his answer. So those have to go hand in hand.
Right.
For me to be able to receive what it is that I'm asking for guidance on, or I always have my arms in the air like this, because this is the sign of surrender, the sign of receiving. How can, they talked about it at church 2 weeks ago. When the quarterback throws the ball, what does the receiver have to do to catch the ball? He's got to stick his hands up in the air and catch it. So if his hands are in his pocket, or he's
ain't
not
catching nothing.
No, he's getting hit in the head with it. And so it was being able to learn that with prayer has to come meditation if I want answers. But the specific things that I pray for aren't materialistic things, because you can ask God for $1 million, and guess what? They say be careful what you pray for, because you just might get it. But he's not going to give you $1 million. He's going to put opportunities in front of you to be able to be able to steward that $1 million should he be able to get it to you.
Yes.
And he conditions you for each step. And some people don't realize that. They don't realize it, like, hey, you just had 4 jobs come up that are part of you making $1 million that you didn't even see.
Yep.
And so being able to discern what is of him and what isn't, is 9 times out of 10, if I got to think about it, it's not of him. It's my will, or it's, something that is worldly or carnal, and not always do I act on what I know I should act on. I remember being strung out on drugs and going, before I even picked up this drug, there was a cross sitting there hanging from the mirror, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, I know I'm not supposed to go,
but I'm doing it.
But I'm going, and I went and did it anyway.
Yep.
And that, I use that example as like me with a lot of things, like as much, my will and my best judgment got me into a lot of bad places. So I try I'm doing it. I'm walking in his will.
Well, that's the key right there. It's praying to be used as the vessel, the temple, and the instrument for God's will. We all want certain things. And again, the love of the Father is not in the world, right? The materialism from the house, the cars, the money, what we accumulate in this world really means nothing.
It's icing on the cake, but
it's
at
great.
The end of the day,
it could afford ease, but there is that scripture, I think it's in Matthew, where it says that a camel has a better chance of passing through the head of a needle than a rich man does into heaven. Have you ever read that?
Do you know what the head of a needle is?
No.
So it's the doorway. Back in those days, there was like the way that the doors were, the top of that, they called it the head of the needle. It was like the Moscow-ish looking doors that they had.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what they were saying when you passed through the head of a needle. It wasn't an actual needle that you thread with.
See, that's what I've been thinking that it is. I feel like
and you know what? I wish we had like a Rogan moment where we could pull it up and put it on the screen, but because I hate that I don't remember a lot of stuff. But that's when we did our study on it. That's how
incredible is that? Isn't it really beautiful that the whole thing about the Bible, so many different interpretations, so many different people who have read it take it. There's facts behind it, which I did not know with that, and then you have the millions or billions of others of interpretations of things.
You've been thinking about it wrong the whole time, or maybe it wasn't wrong, but there's other ways. And that's where, like, I got a lot of comments on that, the post that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And where I said that, like, I pray to God or a higher power or something greater than myself. And, you know, I said that because of in 12-step, when I was walking in my 12-step days, like, that's what I did. I believed, you know, I prayed to a higher power greater than myself. And it worked. Walking in faith, having patience, you know, all of the spiritual principles of the 12 steps worked for me.
Yep.
Like, and there's a reason, because it's biblical. And so, like, somebody was like, oh, well, you know, you take your Christianity, use it as a platform, and then use a theist approach. And I'm like, man, that theology and all that stuff, like, I don't know it. You know, I don't know what theology is. I don't study the Bible. Like, I barely can get through a Monday night on, you know, looking at Bible Hub to try to understand what we're reading in Genesis. You know, I'm not claiming to be this person that is.
I'm going through Genesis right now.
But, you know, it's something. Yeah, I love Genesis. It's great. I've learned so much, man, to be able to sit down and just pull this stuff apart. And so, like, I didn't even respond. Like, I just put, I'm a Christian. That's the only thing. And, like, he had nothing to say to that.
You know what the problem is? Most people now, think about how vapid and dejected and devoid of purpose somebody has to be in order to source out a post when you're speaking about something so holy and so beautiful just to spew venom and hatred on it. That's the one thing about social media that I've realized, when there's so many good intentions and you have nothing but good intentions behind what you post.
That's why I don't even waste my time with people anymore. Like, I just say okay or thumbs up or don't even respond at all, because it's like, I don't care. I care what people think, but I don't, like, it's not going to affect the way that I walk in any way, shape, or form.
It amazes me just how some people are so willing to want to banter and fight just to try and dismantle and discourage what the message and the intentful message of love, unity, and light behind something is. We live in a really different type of digital warfare mainframe now, and it's sad.
I've been there too. Don't get me wrong. I've been that guy.
Were you?
Well, I was always somebody that I felt like I had to stand up for myself, I think, and mostly on social media or text messaging or whatever, like, even if it was like about something going on in our city, they're like, oh, this stupid soccer field they're building. And I'm like, I-95 goes north. Like, and I get ready to, like, send it to, like, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, and I just delete it, because there's no point. There's no reason to even engage in that.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of my energy, even if it's my thumb muscles. Like, it's still.
But it's the mental muscle, dude.
It is, you know, man.
That's really what it is. It's that mental muscle that we're working to try and be right in that moment. And bro, trust me, like, growing up, I was the same way, dude.
And my wife tells me that all the time. She's like, oh no, you're right all the time. You got to be right. And I'm like, but I don't try to be right. I don't. I just want to. She's here.
I saw the head nod, like,
oh. I just wanted I mean, and obviously with the wife thing, I mean, you know, that's, you're right, honey. You got it. Even if I, you know, can pull it up on Google and prove it to her, I'm still not going to do that.
Happy wife is a happy life.
100%.
But happy man is God's plan.
That's right.
You know? But, so two both got to be happy creates perfect unity.
And then that is as a leadership role too, is saying no to that battle.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's where a lot of men now also fail with that. I think when I say we, just men in general find themselves being in a position of always wanting to be right, and the word leadership has almost become diluted and completely disconnected with being a true leader is. Being a leader is being a servant.
Yeah.
That's really what being a leader is. It's serving your fellow man. It's serving your home ministry. It's serving your children. It's serving those at your job. Leadership is not about being solely in an authoritative role and having a commandeering demeanor over everybody. It's serving your community and making sure that everyone is building alongside of you.
Yeah.
You know, when you go, again, I relate everything back to Scripture.
Okay.
It's, you look at what happened with Jesus. What was he doing when everyone was washing the feet? He was washing everybody's feet. The leader, the actual God in flesh, was washing
That's
our
what
feet.
that's what it is with anybody in any position. Is you almost like scan the room and be like, well, is he doing it? Okay, if he's doing it, I'm going to do it. And so that's where, like I told you before, with it, especially in the work role and even at home, is like she won't let me do dishes. Like I'll like it. You know, when she's sleeping, I'll like hurry up and wash a cup or something and like stick it up there. It's just not done to her. I don't fold towels the right way. There's an OCD thing there. But doing those things, you know, even when nobody's looking, like being that man of integrity and because I'm supposed to, not because I'm worried about what people are going to see, because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. But being that in that time when people are looking at you is also a good time to be doing the right thing, because like I said, you're looking like, well, if so-and-so, if the boss is doing it, man, I should be doing it too. And
my friend goes to a Bible study, and he told me that and this was the interpretation of the gentleman leading the actual study, was that's also why people get baptized. It's not just for your holy communion with God. It's to show others that I'm willing to do this. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of surrender.
Just like that ring.
To public. Yep.
You know, it's a symbol of...
Better flash that ring again. Just
symbolize
married.
That you're giving your will and your life to God. That you're I had to learn that. My son came to me a few years back, and he went to the summer camp with the church, and he came back and he's like, hey, what do you know about baptism? I'm like, I don't know anything. So me and him went to the pastor after service one day. I said, Pastor, help me here. Like, what does this mean? Like, I know baptism's important, but what? And that's exactly how he explained it. Was that it's a symbol of you publicly displaying your faith. And the coolest thing about that story is that I got to be in the water with my son when he was baptized. Dude. And you know, there's some picture. We got one at the house, you know, and in the living room, and that's like one of the proudest moments that I think I've ever had.
That's amazing.
Because he was adopted. Like, I gave up custody of him at one point in my life. I was in jail, and like they brought the paperwork, and I'm like, you know, I was unfit to be a parent. I had failed every drug test that DCF had given me, and I was in jail at that time for like violent charges and fraud and all kinds of stuff. So they were like, all right, you tried. And
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry.
And so, but, you know, fortunately, up until maybe 3 or 4 months ago, he's been with us full time for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, and, you know, us pouring into him.
Is that the strain that you were talking about before? That little bit of...
So he broke his arm last year, twice. It's an electric bicycle while he was at his mother's house. And not that it's her fault or anything. He's just a wild kid. And so the last time he broke his arm, he had broken it bad enough to where he had to have surgery.
Same arm?
Different arm.
Oh,
separate arms. And so that last year, I think, was a depressing year for him. So it's like right in the beginning of summer, like he was supposed to start football practice, like broke his arm, couldn't go to the beach, couldn't go in the pool, like all the things you're supposed to do in summer. So he sat at home, and this is just me from the outside looking in, you know, of what happened to him. And then, you know, when he would go to his mother's house, obviously our house, we have a little more structure. We expect certain things from him. Like, he's supposed to get up on his own to go to school. And he did for an entire like year and a half. We had no issues with him getting up and going to school on his own. Alarm clock. Like, hey, if the phone doesn't wake you up, give me the phone then. You don't need it.
Yep.
What's the point of having it? Go get the Alexa can wake you up. And so when he went to his mom's, I told him, just stay there. She's going to help you wash yourself, you know, like, so he was there for maybe like a month and a half, you know, or so. And when it was time for him to come back, it was like, I don't really want to come back. You know, I'm doing good here. He was getting up and going to school with his mom's. There was a point there where she couldn't handle him.
Got it.
And so there, you know, he was better off at our house for the structure and stability during the week, and he would go to hers on the weekend. And so now it was more of like, you know, oh, well, you know, I don't like the way you treat me. But he's got the easy life now. Like, he gets woke up every day. Like, I don't know if the structure is the same, because when we were doing week to week, like every time he would come home, we would have to like reteach him everything again. So it's hard when there's a split family. And I'm not saying his mom is a great person. I don't think she's not parenting him in a bad way. I think that it's just different.
Of course.
So he has it's more is expected of him at my house. So why wouldn't he want the easier route of like someone catering to him and making him food? And she would be like, go make your own food, like fold your own laundry, like what's wrong with you?
Yep.
And so,
but no dishes. Can't do dishes.
When she went to Brazil for a month, we had to do our own dishes. We had to fend for ourselves. I didn't even know how to turn the washing machine on. I had to call her.
No way.
Yeah. I had to, and I watched a YouTube video. But I fell in love with the Brazilian culture. Let's just put it that way. They don't let their men do anything.
That's what, and I'm not going to get into culture here in the United States. That's just what we are lacking here most of the time. There's definitely a polarity shift between Americanized women and women who are not American.
She's Americanized now. She's broken. She's a broker. She's spoiled.
But again, she does the dishes, the laundry, all that good stuff. Cook.
'Cause I was 300 pounds at one point. We had to go on.
No, you weren't.
We had to have an intervention. Yeah.
No, you weren't.
I was.
No, you weren't.
298 pounds. Yeah. Like what, 3 years ago? And I was waking up in the morning. She's sleeping on the couch, and I'm like, honey, what's wrong? Did I do something? She's like, I can't sleep in the same room with you anymore. You're snoring so loud. And I'm like, what? Like, I was with her for 5 years up to this point, and like never snored, never had issues with sleeping in the room, but leftovers every day from rice and beans and a plate piled up this big when I come home for dinner every day. She was trying to fatten me up on purpose, I think. And
did you know that you were putting weight on as you were putting it on?
Oh yeah.
And there was, did you care? Were you depressed?
I did. I had a gym in my garage.
There...
Like even during COVID, like I was still working out, so I still like had it in my mind that I was thick.
Yeah.
I had this swole kind of stature, but I was still obese from here down. And I'm a fat boy at heart. Like I like chocolate cake.
I like chocolate too.
I like sweets. And New York has been. I mean, I'm definitely not leaving here without getting some New York cheesecake. So
some of the best you're ever gonna have, dude.
The pizza was amazing. Like just so. It got to the point where I had high blood pressure. I was the cholesterol was bad. I hadn't gone to the doctor in like 2 years. So I finally went whenever we had the snoring issue, and they were like, "Oh, you got to get this CPAP machine.
Yep.
We're gonna put you on blood pressure medicine, and we're gonna put you on cholesterol medication." I'm like, "What?" Like this. Like I had insurance. They wanted me to pay $2,000 for this machine. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna pay $2,000 to sound like Darth Vader.
Yep.
And while I'm sleeping, like she'll still be on the couch, like with that thing going. So I was like, I'm gonna go do it on my own. Like, and I went that year. I became a certified bodybuilder specialist, certified personal trainer, and a certified nutritionist. And it was only for the knowledge. Like it wasn't because I was like gonna go try to do it for a job or anything. Because I've been working out since I was in high school, so I've always been a gym person.
Yep.
And but I never saw results. I never stayed consistent enough to where like I'd see like 3 abs and I'm like, I'm good now. I'm gonna start eating cake again. And so, but I was like, hey, I don't want everyone on my dad's side of the family died from a smoking related or heart related issue.
Yeah.
Young, like under 60.
Wow.
And or under So these people were falling off like flies, and so I didn't want that for me. I quit smoking, quit dipping, changed my whole I started eating right nutrition wise, and transformed my body. Like I'm a completely different like body figure compared to what I used to be, all because like I don't know why doctors don't tell people that to begin with. Like it just doesn't fit.
I think we know why.
Yeah,
but there's going to be
so
no
I went back like a year later.
Nothing.
The nurse practitioner was trying to throw me on all this medication. My blood pressure was like 120. I just did blood last week. My blood pressure is 120/70.
Isn't that a perfect blood pressure?
Heart rate like 73.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Like and you know, I don't know the body fat factor. I'm a little heavier right now just because I was on a bulk cycle for a little while, and so now I'm starting to move into that cutting phase. But I pushed my body to limits that I've never thought that I was able to do before.
Isn't that also one of the most amazing qualities? Because I feel this is what always confused me about myself. When I was in my most depressive state, my most anxious state, my most miserable state, my most suicidal state, I was still competitively doing Muay Thai and competitively bodybuilding on stage. So I had all of these qualities and disciplinary characteristics in one facet of my life. And for the life of me, they could not translate at the time over mentally. And I see that with so many people, right?
That's the world we live in now.
So many.
The information age is dead. Anything you need to know or want to know about, you can search it on Google. You can look up a video on how to do it on YouTube. But
use ChatGPT now.
How applying it is a different story.
100%.
It's the being able to put it rubber on the road.
Yep.
It's hard for people to understand, and that's why I think the coaching thing has become a big thing, because there's kids that are going to college to learn how to be a CEO of a company, but yet the college professor's never been a CEO. So
Correct.
you want to see that success in somebody that you want, right? That's where you call it being a sponsor in 12-step. You call it being a mentor in life, or you call it discipling somebody in a Christian standpoint, right? It's all the same thing. It's taking somebody under your wing and saying, hey, let's go do this.
Stewarding them.
Yeah. And that's what we're lacking, because even sometimes, like you said, with your own dad, our own fathers didn't know how to father us. They just thought that because there was food on the table and a roof over your head, they did their fatherly duty. And it's more than that.
That's especially now with this technological boom, that's really where I do see most just in general, fathers are failing there. They think that physical presence automatically equates to mental, emotional,
or buying things, and you got your video games, you got everything you
means
need.
Nothing, because then all that does is isolate them even further, and it doesn't cultivate or curate any type of relationship with that child, and it teaches them to be independent outside of leaning on them when they actually need them. It's a beautiful world that we live in.
Right.
It's so beautiful in so many ways. There's just more roadblocks now, I feel like, for people to genuinely
all the same
connect.
stuff was happening years ago.
Yeah, different.
Just we didn't have social media or the internet to
completely different, and when you evolve, and when times evolve, you do have to evolve with those times.
And I'll stand up for the next generation, because I don't think a lot of people do. Anywhere you go, you hear people there, this next generation, we're in trouble. I'm like, I disagree.
Yeah,
I think that the next generation is evolved in a different way. Like you said, the times are different, and we don't understand it. But at the same time, if their work ethic is bad, or if they're not showing up on time, that's instead of saying, hey, the next generation's screwed, let's pour into them. Let's teach them instead of saying they're screwed. Because, hey, my dad always told me, and it sticks to me to this day, if you show up on time, you're late.
Yep.
So that was just always something's in my mind. Am I late sometimes? Yes, but I make it a conscious effort to try to be at places. My wife will tell you, we're leaving for church an hour before it starts, but we get there, by the time we park and everything, it's we have our seats. We're not fighting people to get in and get where we need to go.
Well, it's those little bits of knowledge that usually steer people the furthest in life. You look at something like that. My dad is the one who taught me perception's reality. That's because I was always in trouble as a kid. Always.
Yeah.
That line stuck with me for the rest of my life. And now with what I do for work as a coach, it couldn't ring truer.
Yeah.
By any means, because now my whole job is filtered on brain chemistry, right? So what he taught me my whole life growing up.
Speaking it.
Yeah. My whole life cemented my foundation, what I do now. And it's the one line that every time I say it, his face is right there, speaking it to me. Every time I was in trouble in the 6th grade or suspended.
You already know, I can hear his voice.
There it is. There it is. Or he would say something like 1,000 generals can't be wrong, right? So if everyone's saying the sky's blue and I'm the only one saying it's red, what's wrong with that picture?
Yeah.
Those two quotes I live by.
Yeah.
So it's that same thing with, if you're on time, you're late. It's amazing how these little crumbs that we get through our parents stick with us. Going back to your relationship with your son, that's why what you're doing, it may be strained now, and you two may be in this bit of a struggle, but the way that you're pouring into him to make him and to develop him under disciplinary action, when he gets to a certain age, bro, he is going to be so
even if he
thankful.
beats his head against the wall a couple times, it's like at least
needs to happen,
the
right?
seed was planted.
Yeah, you're planting those mustard seeds.
Yeah.
Right? But those seeds need to be planted. Now it's up to him to actually nourish them.
Yeah.
Right? So you can pour into him, but he needs to receive what you're pouring, right? He needs to allow you to fertilize.
It's not going unnoticed. He hears it. Obviously, if it's bothering him, he's listening. So
He's triggered.
yeah.
So I would love for you to kind of send off, if you had a piece of advice to give to maybe someone who's looking to find God, or somebody who's struggling in maybe a season of torment or a season of struggle, or any type from even your own book, right? What could you offer somebody who maybe is in a position right now, who might be struggling with anything? And since you are in this space now of self-development and coaching and helping people and serving and stewarding, what can you offer somebody where if they listen to this, they're going to take that away and they're going to run with it?
I dare you to try it.
I love that.
I dare you. Just give it 6 months. Truly give yourself an opportunity. And if things don't change, like we used to say it in 12 step, like we'll refund your misery. Like,
Yeah.
so, but they would be like, yeah, I'll give you $10. You can go back out and get high if it doesn't work.
Yep.
But so, I said that to a gentleman recently, that this guy grew up in the same city as me. Like, I'm truly, truly proud, and truly, it's amazing to see that this guy is all in with Jesus right now. But he was running the streets, he was not doing the right things, and he was, now he's got a family. You get to that point, you get to that age where you're like, all right, I got three daughters and a wife, and you have dug yourself into a hole to where like nothing else you think will work except for God if you see it around you. So he reached out to me. He's like, man, I want to try this God thing. And that's the way it works, right? You go to the jails, you go to the prisons, like you got this masculine kind of just group of people, and they're like, but they see something different in you. They see you emitting a light. They see you that you just are moving differently. You're not there to sell them a bill of goods. You're there being true and real and honest, and it shows. And they come up, it's like, like secretly at the end of the jail thing, they're like, yo, what's up with this God thing? like it's this,
Give me that word, brother.
What is it? What is this? Is it real? Like, you're like, yeah, bro, it's real. It ain't fake. I'm not like. But this guy has now come in, and he's maybe a month in now. Every Sunday, got him into the they call it the Journey program, which is what our church kind of brings people in to see if they want to serve in any areas and stuff like that. But it was really cool, and that was my kind of I'm not gonna say selling point, but like the point where I was like, yo, I dare you to just give it a shot.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
6 months. Like if you've already at a spot where you're at in your life where you're reaching out to try to find anything that'll help you, like what's the worst that'll happen? If you truly put everything into it, and so he's doing it, and that's what I would say. I dare you to try it. Dare you.
Where can people find you on social media?
So disciplineandlegacy.com is the website for my podcast, which has all of my links there for YouTube's, Instagram, TikTok. Everything is there. All of the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, and that is that's where you can find everything. I mean, we've got everything posted on there as far as the books, and if you want to message me or anything, I can get you guys the links to post in the bio. But I respond to messages pretty regularly.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I found that, and we talked about it yesterday on a podcast I was on, is that like if you're on this path or this journey, that you have to respond to people. Like you have to talk to people, and that's part of communication, right?
Yeah.
I say something, you're supposed to say something back. And my wife even said that to me. She's like, they said, oh, I love your car. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, tell them thank you. Like, thank you. Like, something. I was a really weird person for years, like a just out of sorts human being. And sometimes I don't know how to like do certain stuff.
Well, you have a steward with you now, guiding and steering and spreading light in that way.
Yeah.
What a blessing that is.
Super blessed. We were just talking about yesterday about, everything we've been through. We've been through the worst, the good, the bad, everything. And
all of it serves equal value to create what you guys have and are now.
It's a we thing for sure, and all areas too. I don't claim anything as my own.
Yeah,
it's all God.
I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yeah, man.
Thank
it's
you,
definitely
dude.
an awesome conversation.
Yeah, man.
There's gonna be some gems.
Will you be absolutely genuine with me? No deception, please. I want you to do something that expresses you without the slightest deception.